everybody, welcome to Blood Bowl. I'm Complacent Badger.
I'm Sierra Kilo.
And we are watching the Coarse Heirs versus Nonpareil Elites.
This is going to be a cardiovascular burner of a match, I think.
60 team value difference in favor of the Coarse Heirs. I mean, I guess team value is always better.
I'd agree with that.
So, yeah, we were a little disappointed with the last time we saw this matchup, but I think that was mostly because we had our heart set on seeing some crazy stuff going on. But maybe with a higher team value and the end of the season and more feeling like there's more riding on the game because it's whether or not you get into the playoffs, maybe we'll see some craziness.
Yeah, and just a little more comfort with your team. Yeah, that's why I'm hoping to see these two teams just run all over each other.
Yep. Looks like the Nonpareil Elites backing up 2 spaces instead of the standard 1 just right off the line, giving up that extra yard. So we'll see if that comes to bite them or not.
Well, I think that when you're looking at teams like this, that 1 extra yard isn't going to do too much. Maybe it allows for you to fall back further if necessary, because
maybe he's anticipating a pitch invasion or something since it happened so many times last time.
Good Lord, how many times? That was twice, right?
Yeah, or I think it might have been 3 times. I don't know.
That's pretty gross. Quick
snap for the offense, allowing them to move 1 space up, kind of crumbling that line because he's able to get the good positions and then getting even closer. So that 1 space is even more glaring now.
Yeah, we're still keeping fairly separated from the opponents. We got some engagement now.
Yep, looks like Coarse Heirs taking this game hard, trying to beat up some Elves. Deciding to take on some areas that he's going to lose the fight automatically, so we'll see if this is just a plan for him to force the Elites into a boxing match that he's not going to participate in after the first round.
That might be it. Just get a little bit of an upper hand and see what you can do after.
And what I'm thinking it might be is just the Coarse Heirs getting into position, forcing the Nonpareil Elites to not want to not hit. Like, they don't want to pass up the chance to hit, and then Master Moose just scores behind him. Going for a ballsy 1-die, having block against somebody without it, so this is a pretty good move. And then not getting it, not using the reroll. If I committed to that one and I had the rerolls, I think I might have used it in that situation, especially with block.
I'm with you there. I think that if you get that deep in your opponent's territory, you have 2 chances to knock him down. I'd knock him down.
Yeah, and the odds are I don't want to say in his favor, but with having block, it was if he would have used the reroll, it would have gone from a 50% chance to a 75% chance of knocking that player down.
So all that we did was we fed the dead.
Reroll to a badly hurt, though, so there goes the Apothecary, and not enough inducements to have Wandering Apothecaries, so we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah.
Character going to go for it, having to use a reroll. Coarse Heirs down to 1 reroll on the 2nd turn.
That's scary.
Yep, but looks like this might be a touchdown. It's going to be a tough one, especially without that reroll, but there it is.
All right.
So Coarse Heirs doing, I don't know if it was just the flush out that made him try to score as fast as he did, but I think he did what I thought he was forcing, or not forcing, but kind of dangling those star player points of beating down some armor value 7 Elves, made it too tantalizing, and then allowed him to infiltrate on 1 turn.
And that's not a terrible strategy, is that when it's that even, if you can get the Elves to commit their turn to hitting, whether it's effective or not, it's keeping them from moving.
Basically making them not play what they're built to do. And I think Master Moose was able to trick the Elites into doing that. Which, that's pretty deep metagaming there.
Or he did it absolutely by accident, and it just happened to work out pretty well.
Yeah, I guess we are kind of giving the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he was like, "I'm gonna punch you. Oh wait, I'm losing. Better score." But something tells me that's not the case.
Could be.
So running too deep in the back and then keeping the guys up close. Wings a little soft right now, but that's what happens when you play two in the back. So we'll see. Yep,
Yeah.
got both the catchers on the wings. So what I like to do, honestly, is I like to play the catchers a little closer and put my blitzers out on the side so that blodge is out there. So if they try to hit me, it increases your chances of keeping that guy standing by himself just a little bit more.
And that's a fair strategy, is because you don't want to be flanked all the way around, and having a little bit stronger player makes that just that much more difficult. So
yeah, and I think the catchers, especially with how his setup is, I think those holes were going to be made in the center as it was right there. So having that catcher just a little bit in tighter can give you a couple more spaces down the pitch.
Yep. Strong cage.
Especially with that guard player, that makes his line so much better.
Yep.
And who apparently died because I can't find him.
That'll be fine.
Yeah, a strong cage. Indeed.
And textbook cage breaking action, right?
Yep, that was good. Taking it from the taking down the cage from the back, like I was talking about a couple weeks ago with I think it was the Stalking Dead game and the Nonpareil Elites.
Right.
Telling him that he should go for the back of the cage. Obviously, the Stalking Dead's cage was a little bit more robust than this, but you see the pressure that this is placing on both sides now, which means that the Elites are going to have to make a decision right now on what they're doing. And I think it's going to be a pass to this Agility 5 blitzer.
Yep. So he'd have to get one of his characters out of the way, or you could just, there you go.
Oh, he
created the lane.
Well, he could just flush out this way and take no negative modifiers.
That's what I was saying.
Ooh, I don't know if that was the move I would do. If that guy could get there, why? I guess maybe he's afraid of the intercept. Oh, he's
I don't know.
Reforming the cage. Oh, does a handoff.
20 seconds left.
All right. Wow. All right.
Did it anyways.
Yeah, odd that he did it in that order, but results.
Yep, I'd like to see what the dice were on that.
Right over here, it was a long pass. It was a -1. Actually failed the pass. Initially it was a fumble, but he re-rolled it, and the inaccurate pass actually scattered back onto the player.
There it was.
With 3 D8 rolls, basically going one space, then another space, then another space, any of the 8 spaces adjacent to the player, 3 times, it managed to scatter back onto the player. So that was an extraordinarily lucky pass.
Yeah, I was like, that's a pretty far pass.
Yeah. So
I mean, that was, when it comes down to it, that was fairly lucky that it didn't bounce out of bounds and get thrown in.
It's extraordinary that it just happened to D8 3 times off the space and back onto the space, and that's incredible because it went off, went somewhere, and then came right back around, and didn't go out of bounds like you're saying, didn't land on the ground. Yeah, that was an incredible pass. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it did hit the ground, right?
No. So the way that the scatter pass works is it rolls a D8, and then however you would put the template over the player, one of the 8 spaces around adjacent, basically his tackle zones, that's where the ball goes for the first step of the scatter.
But there was a bouncing ball.
Was it?
So I think it landed on the ground and bounced into the hands of the catcher.
Okay, if that's the case, then that's even crazier lucky that it didn't land on him initially on the scatter, then bounced into his hands.
Yeah. That's what we call horse shit. But that's what we like to see in games like this, just taking the risk and it landing. And this is a game where that's not going to, you can't sit and rest on your laurels and hope to make a victory point if you're not going to take some serious risks.
Yep.
And not that that was a serious risk, but it was, I mean...
It would have at least gotten the
fluke.
ball out of there no matter what. So, I mean,
Right.
And the Corsairs weren't playing any deep defense. Well, actually, they had a couple guys back there covering receivers, so it wouldn't have been just an inevitable touchdown at that point.
Yep. But now we've got 1-1 game, 5 turns in.
Oof. Nonpareil elites using their first reroll. Unless they had extra rerolls from a kickoff event or something.
I don't believe so.
So that shows you the strength of the High Elf team of having free rerolls throughout most of the team. Dodge being in there, pass, catch, all kinds of stuff.
That's nice. And look at that, the right angle on the field.
And there goes a catcher. Yeah, definitely. There is a nice little right angle hanging out. Go up, and this looks like a touchdown. Yep. I see your touchdown, and I raise you a touchdown.
I like how he just went totally across the field instead of down the field.
Yeah, back right all the way to front left.
No big deal.
And that's what you get with Movement 8 characters and Agility 4. You're just like, I score now.
Yeah, that's a huge distance.
I think this is
to cover.
I think this is more scores than 80% of the games in the league in the first 6 turns of this game.
You're very right on that.
So, yeah, this is a crazy, crazy game so far.
Yep, and it went from a pretty low-scoring week, and then there's, this is, I'm going to assume that there's going to be a couple more touchdowns in this, so this is going to be a high-scoring game, and Ducky Shoes scored a bunch of touchdowns as well.
Yeah.
But the rest of the league is grinding out to, 1-0 wins, 2-1 wins.
Yep.
We even had a 0-0 tie, so that's, you look at all the touchdowns, like 80% of the touchdowns are in 2 games.
Yeah. This is a really odd setup. It might be some gambit to try to score really fast, so we'll see if this works out. Leaving that left wing extraordinarily vulnerable.
Right? Hoping maybe to get some penetration over there to get somebody else free. I don't know.
So far, not doing the hits to cause that, but we'll see if it starts opening up.
Some more right angle action.
Yeah. You gonna bring him back? Nope. Getting him deep. Getting ready for that touchdown. So there we go. We got some penetration. Unless you bring that catcher back. Nope.
Flea flicker.
Who's closing that cage? Maybe he's gonna bring that lineman back and then bring a blitzer over. Yep, I sees it. Yeah, there, sis, diagonal.
Yep, and he's got his 2 players down pitch to make the touchdown.
Yeah, this is a scary setup that the Corsairs have in front of them because they have a pretty strong cage that they're not gonna get fully broken this turn, and they have 2 receivers to cover.
You'd like to blitz a receiver at this point.
Yeah, I think with it being so close to the end of the game, blitzing a receiver is probably the good move. And before you do that, just covering one receiver with just dudes.
Right, and the other point of that is when you've got the movement allowance like he's got, hitting one of the receivers doesn't do nearly enough. You got to just make a gauntlet between the ball carrier, and the receivers.
Yep, and the intercept is a big thing right now. He's setting up players just in routes. Ugh, 19 seconds, and he hasn't covered the... putting pressure on the ball carrier. I don't know if it's going to be enough pressure. He's going to be able to just flush out to the left. Maybe he's trying to avoid this lineman getting the ball and avoiding a handoff. I think that might be what he was looking at. So, but he can still do it by flushing out back.
But I just want to point out that the receiver in the bottom left is being the semi cage that is surrounding him is enhanced by the semi cage for the other guy.
Yeah, the angles that he chose was a huge benefit to him.
And then trying to get an easy dodge for the receiver who's further back.
Mm-hmm.
And 1, 2, yeah, that'll be. You're gonna have to risk some dodges.
Yep, and this is what I talk about when I talk about putting receivers, is getting them spread apart as much as possible, because a lot of these players are running double duty right now, covering both receivers because of the good choices he made. All right, so reform the cage. Let's see if he. Yep, here we go. Let's see some tricky dodges to get out of there. Oh, fails. Oh, second one fails. Oh, shadowing. Oh.
All right.
So I see you still have to block both receivers, but one will be a little easier. That blitzer, you're gonna have to cover him, but the movement allowance of these catchers is gonna really. Man, they get 4 catchers, don't they? That's just.
So he's gonna be a -3 modifier. So he's gonna still have 5 movement allowance when he gets up.
Yeah.
That's what you hope for, is to be able to knock down both of those.
Yeah, because then it makes the choices really tough. Interesting.
Would
that
you? I would have pushed him directly.
Well, the reason why he did that, because this character only has 7 movement, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Only chance he has is like going for it to get back there, plus crazy dodges.
Yeah.
And if he dodges back, then he can't get in there. So I think that might have been the better choice, just to force, no matter what, force him to make more rolls.
Yeah, good point.
Because putting him here just made it to where there was like 1 less roll for him to get
well,
through
because
here.
now he has to dodge 1, 2, 3, 4 times.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was the better choice, even though it doesn't look like it. Just because of the movement allowance difference. So here's where this may crumble, because this is it's just a push, so he's choosing. Oof. Now he's hoping. It's not a hard dodge now. This is a dodge into 1 tackle zone. Yep, gets in there. This should be a pretty easy pass. Now he just has to make the decision on who he wants to pass over. Because no matter what, he's passing over somebody. Pass block, and it fails. Whoop whoop.
Nice.
Excellent play by the Elites. Excellent defense by the Corsairs. Both players just tooth and nail. That touchdown was a great one.
I really like seeing that back and forth. You know, when you get that close, yeah, look at that.
When you get us talking about specific moves and every single tile that a player is going to be touching, it means you're playing well.
Right.
Because you have us completely enraptured, and you have us like really specifically trying to figure out what you're doing and guess what's going to happen.
Doing a pretty good job of it, though, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So it was 2+3 + 1 accurate pass, -1 tackle zone, so it was a 3 right there.
There's like maybe 4 block dice being chucked per turn, and that's usually 2 on the blitz and then maybe 2 somewhere else.
Yeah.
And this is such.
And that catch had to get re-rolled as well.
Mm-hmm. And that's why he has the skills and the re-rolls.
But I think that the catch was... Maybe the catch was the interception had 2 chances at a catch?
The Corsairs might have had a team re-roll that they didn't use during their turn to apply to the intercept.
Can you re-roll an intercept?
Yes, as long as you have the team re-roll available, you can re-roll an intercept.
Cool.
I believe it consumes your re-roll for the upcoming turn. Ooh.
Interesting. Dead.
Dead player. So that was he actually re-rolls it.
Good. So that was 1 on each side then, huh?
Yep, and both turned into a badly hurt. So both apothecaries have been used for undoing deaths, and luckily nobody died.
Exactly what you hope for.
Yeah, that's yep. Player gets the star player points for doing it, and the player doesn't die on the other side. So that's really good for both teams. So creating that just textbook cage. Let's see if he can get some receivers down the pitch. I really like the way the Elites are playing. They're using that like that rabid textbook style on top of the ability to just, okay, time to drop the textbook and just show how badass we are.
Yeah.
That is the
a
epitome
super
of
good
high
strategy. Yep, playing tight until you get that opportunity, and then going balls to the wall.
And then Master Moose and his Corsairs just playing just crazy off the wall Blood Bowl the whole time, and it's just the epitome of an elf team, just losing all that funding, but just totally skilled players.
Yep. Definitely using a lot of time. I think these guys started playing on Monday and just finished up a couple hours ago.
Oh fuck yeah!
They did say it was what, like it was a 2 hour, 2.5 hours? How long? How long was it?
It was a 2.5 hour game because I think they had 2 spectators.
Ay ay ay.
And they stand there. Watch as the elves stand there.
They finally had to catch their breaths.
Yeah, they're like, fuck. So, an unfortunate dodge fail is setting up the Corsairs for a strong cage break right here.
And that's all that it takes. I mean, when being able to take advantage of that one situation that breaks the momentum of your opponent.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, because it was kind of a weird situation that dodge failed so early, because now it's taken work for the Corsairs to actually get to the cage despite his really good chance at breaking this cage right now. He's absorbed all of the assist right now. So one blitz against this player is going to be a 1 die. Unless this
and it's going to be coming from
nowhere. He's really absorbed those players. Whoa, from downtown. Attacker down, reroll into a push. That's really opened it up.
With 3 seconds left.
Yep, and this really opens. Unfortunately, because it didn't put him down, puts the thrower in a really good position to just hand it off to that blitzer, and that blitzer bails. Might not work though, so it might not be a good idea because that blitzer will not be able to get away from that catcher.
Yeah.
Either of those catchers. Oof.
Gonna see a couple hits maybe.
Yep. Is that the Dump King? That is the Dump King. And he's
we haven't seen the dump yet, huh?
No, we have not. He hasn't had a chance. He's just been scoring touchdowns. Yeah, if he tries to do a handoff right here, I think that'll incur the Dump King's wrath, and the Dump King will engage.
Push. Now who's he gonna mark?
Uh-oh. 23 seconds. Uh-oh, is he doing it? Oh, handoff. That one though on that catch.
So there's all the luck was out. Ran out.
Yep, right there. That was the second.
Luck tank on E.
Oh. That player. I wish I would have caught that ball.
That's what you get. We let him in. We let him in.
Oh, man. How things crumble.
That was the longest we've gone without a touchdown, huh?
Yeah, it's been like fucking 12 seconds.
It's gonna be 4 turns, right?
Yeah, something like that. Nobody scored this half, so yeah, four turns is definitely the minimum. All right. Oh man.
Dad, what's going on?
What are these elves got daggers?
I know, right?
Oh, that's an agility 5 lineman.
Nobody is sad about that.
You don't.
Well, yeah, maybe one person.
You don't need agility 5 linemen. If anything, that's lowering your team value properly. You need to get your linemen to do lineman duties. You got enough players that can catch, and they're agility 4 to begin with. If they need to be catchers, they can be at agility 4.
That is fair. I mean, that's like having 9 rerolls.
Yeah, like I mean, come on. Like, yeah, it may help you, but for the cost on your team value, I know it hurts. But I think you'll be grateful later on next season when you don't have that team value weighing you down, and you have another lineman with guard or something like that.
Yeah, and really, on the grand scheme of things, I'll lose a lineman.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to lose someone.
Yeah, I have lost a lineman.
So, Nonpareil Elites, something happened. I was too busy babbling to watch their turnover, but it looks like Corsairs are going to get a touchdown right here. Doing a couple hits first, feeling like he's got the upper hand, so he's throwing blocks. Oh, gives it to another player. He's like, this guy gets the star player points.
I do like the nerves of steel.
Yeah, it was like, I don't give a shit. That guy was behind me. I didn't hear footsteps. Yeah, so that was tough. That was the kind of the Corsairs just taking advantage of bad situations.
But here's the situation. That took so long that you've got an opportunity to tie it up and then still have, if you can mount a strong defense, maybe go for the win.
I've had to say, man, 2 touchdowns for the Nonpareil Elites right now is really tough, even for Elves. Not that it's impossible. Some kickoff events can make it a lot easier, but 3.
It's getting the ball. It's not what once they get it, it's fine. But trying to get it away from the Corsairs.
Yeah, for that last score, but it's not out of the woods. I think the Corsairs are going to have a tough time holding. I think that's going to be the issue, is keeping this from a tie. They do have the player advantage with 1 player, 10-9.
Yeah, maybe if they had a war dancer.
Brilliant coaching, throwing a reroll over to the Corsairs.
Because he needed it. Marking the ball.
See, it's that.
Figuring out a cage.
It's those fundamentals. It's like he sat down in Blood Bowl training camp and was like, all right, I'm going to do all of this. He just does it and that and that's where that 4-minute turn comes from that we mock these 2 players for, is that they have a mental checklist on what they're going to do every turn.
Yeah.
And they do not move away from it, and it shows. They score touchdowns, they win games.
Well, and here's the other thing is if you're trying to delay a touchdown, that's a strong way to do it, where your opponent's far enough away and you can just pick the ball up, sit in the cage, well protected, and wait for your opponent to try to get in.
Mm-hmm. And then use him trying to find a way to get in as an opening.
Right.
Oh.
And then he's got to come back, and you have the opportunity to flush out, because he's going to use a lot of his movement to get through your guys and to get at the ball carrier.
Yep. So left side looking a little weak right now, but the Elite's not having any presence on the left side due to the player disadvantage. So it looks like the noose of the Corsairs is slowly starting to tighten.
Well, let's see if he can get it tight enough. Elves are notoriously wiggly.
Yeah, especially against one another. It's funny, you never think about it, but what teams that don't take tackle very often? Elves.
Yeah.
It's really weird how that works out, especially being teams that use dodge to a huge extent, and then they don't prepare for dodge.
Using that block.
Yep. Here we go.
Where's he gonna go?
I think he might just be reforming his cage a little closer. He's trying not to lose this ball. Like this is tough.
Yep.
And I've also seen, man, where somebody scores on the last turn or the turn before last, and the kickoff event is a get the ref, and the time extends by 1 turn or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
Oh! But you did leave a blitzer right next to your thrower. Man, that's crazy.
Let's get it going.
Oh, he does have tackle. I just fucking eat my words.
And it would be Master Moose, right?
Yeah. Well, he knows the weaknesses of teams, so he probably saw that he had a lack of dealing with Elves after the last time he played Nonpareil Elites.
Yeah, there's nothing like making it harder than it needs to be.
That is a scary player. That blitzer is blodge, shadowing, sidestep, tackle.
that shadowing and tackle together.
Oof. And then if you try to put him down to avoid the shadowing tackle, he's got dodge and sidestep. So
I refuse.
You failed to hit me, so I just put myself where it's even worse that I have shadowing.
Thanks for not making me dodge in there, even though I could get there if I wanted to anyways.
Yeah, I'm scared to see what this player will get next. I'm assuming it's going to be pass block.
I'm hoping for dead. Between you and me.
That's the skill he's picking up is dead. I'm sure you can help him out with that.
Right?
Puppy dog, not my son. Puppy dog face, not my son, can help you with that.
It's the same thing. I like how, Brett uses wild animal. No, don't. He did not use wild animal. He chose to do nothing.
He was subjected to wild animal.
Yeah, he uses dead. That's what's going to happen. Bartholomew Roberts stood next to Brett and chooses dead.
It's better than smelling Brett.
It's true.
Uh-oh.
I've heard that his presence is a little disturbing.
But you know what?
Oh.
That was such a good move in case it failed and fumbled. And what a great place for it to drop on the fumble.
Yep.
That, of all bad things that could happen, that was the best bad thing.
I love that.
And that just goes to show you that sometimes just doing a little bit of extra effort and putting those players in the right spots.
Oh, the catch failed.
And there's that follow-up that really screwed Master Moves, trying to get that ball out of there.
Man.
And then dodging into that crazy dodge zone. Oh, wow. That follow-up might have cost him the game.
Yeah, and I like how we say that, where he's going from a victory to a tie.
Well, I mean, losing 2 points is significant. I mean, I consider a draw just as bad as a loss in most cases.
Well, that would if he draws this, then I think that I take the lead on our division.
I think that's true. Let's take a second and talk about please don't take offense to this. This is just observation. The incredible plummet that the Crazy Eights have taken.
Yeah.
Leading the season in their division basically the whole time. I don't really, other than like maybe in the very beginning where you like had 1 or 2 wins and they had 1 loss. They were winning their division and pretty strongly for like 6 games.
Yeah, and I don't really know what happened.
It was the Hills game. It was the mistakes that were made in the Hills games, and it was just a downward spiral as he's rebuilding his team.
Yeah, he did message me and said that he's been a different man after.
Yeah. I still think he's playing well, and I think he's doing, and some situations have just gone against him, and having less play. There it is.
Oi.
Nice. So I think that's it. I don't think much more can happen. I think the Corsairs have a turn.
Yeah.
And unless some crazy kickoff event happens, they don't have the movement allowance to get in the end zone.
Yeah. But I think that when it comes to the Crazy Eights, I don't see always a full plan from like he's gotten stuck. He's definitely
just
shy of the touchdown a couple times.
Yeah, he's definitely the reaction coach where he can definitely take advantage of a really good situation, but has not gotten to the point of creating good situations.
Yeah, and that's one of the things because I think in the beginning he was doing well because the
team advantage.
Yeah, I think the team advantage was a big factor. I think once people stopped really being afraid of his bloodthirster,
and then just taking it out,
and like a healthy respect, and
like understanding what its limitations were and using it against it.
Yeah, like Brett. He's not so good against Brett.
Yeah, like every team that had Claw used it against him at great ability.
So that'll be good. Well, let's we're waiting on that game this
Yeah,
week. So let's see if that.
We'll carry on that conversation in that game. Don't let me forget.
Yeah.
But for right now, man, overall, Corsairs, Nonpareil Elites, I have nothing for you. That was a tremendous game where both teams fought tooth and nail, and that's an elf game. That's everything that I wanted to see in the first game plus more.
Yeah, there was deaths.
Yeah, you guys, and look at that match rating. Get some.
All of it.
Fuck yeah, man. That was a great game. Both players, both coaches, everything was. I would almost argue that was a perfect game of Blood Bowl.
Yep, and the only thing that coming back from that failed dodge and a couple failed passes and still making good decisions, like not letting
Frustration get to you.
Yeah, really, because that turnover led to an opponent touchdown, but you were able to get back in it and make it okay. Getting and being patient at that last drive was really good. I see a lot of, that was a lot of maturity from a young team and a young coach.
Yep, it was a bitterly fought 1 point for the rankings, but that is probably going to be your crowning jewel of points at the end of this season. That might have been the hardest fought game I have seen from any team this season, and against one of the strongest opponents I have ever personally played against and have seen.
I'll second that as well. So, and just super good job on both teams of using your teams to the maximum extent that they're available to be played. Really, really fun to watch, fun to commentate on, because trying to guess what you're doing is pretty interesting, because we always think we have an angle on it, but we don't have 14 minutes per turn to contemplate like you guys do.
They're so tactical. They use character animation, stopping the clock to their advantage. I need more time. Do circles.
All right, that's all I got, man.
Yeah, that was a good game. See you guys next time.
Later.